Hey everyone, welcome back to the AI Equation Podcast, where we decode the latest in tech and in AI. I'm Alex, and in today's episode, we're diving deep, well, not too deep, but we're going to talk about Google's DeepMind, which is now known as Gemini, which was known as Bard before. It's had a little bit of a crisis, really. So I would call the Gemini rollout over the past, 12 months where Google has struggled to figure out their identity in the world of AI, being that they were at the beginning there, right? Like 2015, if you go back to all the information from the experts in AI. I mean, they were really there at the beginning, but as Google does with everything, they have so many different lines of businesses and investments, and honestly, their moneymaker has always been ads. So Google Ads is really how they make money. And so though they have a lot of investments in a lot of other great technologies, really Google Ads is where it's at. But I think that they really missed the boat, being that they were at the beginning, at the forefront of AI in 2015. They allowed OpenAI to come in and just kind of take off. And they had, of course, people there that were hesitant to roll out these technologies, right? But now they are forced to do that because they're probably going to lose a lot of traffic and usage to OpenAI, ChatGPT. And not that we can trust ChatGPT or OpenAI any more than we can, but the competition is fierce because Google has proven over the years, as we know, to not be so reliable, so trustworthy. Right? There are so many lawsuits in the Europe, in the U.S., and all around the globe with things that Google did with everyone's data. As we know, this year they're sunsetting their cookies, and there's a lot problems with Chrome, problems with Android, YouTube. So they have a lot of great products. I won't take that away. It's great for society, right? More information is better, but I think when it came to AI, it took them by surprise. And so it's really interesting the shift that is happening. And even recently, they partnered with Anthropic, who's rolled out Claude 3, which is, I would say, OpenAI's biggest competitor at this point. And they're signaling a potential, I'd say, pivot to partnering with other competitors that can then really compete with OpenAI. So, I tested both systems, just so we're constantly testing different AI tools. And so if I took the prompt here, just to give you an example, I took a prompt and put it into 4 different LLMs, but I'll just, for the purpose of time, I'll keep it to the comparison between Google's Gemini and OpenAI's ChatGPT. So the prompt was, "You're a local guide giving me travel tips for Tokyo. Draft a 3-day travel itinerary showing me the most popular places in the city." I took the exact one again, put the prompt across 4 different LLMs. So a couple of things about the Google. It did give me a pretty decent itinerary, and broke it down by start of the day, in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. Okay. But all the other LLMs did that as well. I did feel that the sections that they broke down compared to ChatGPT were less, well, I can see it. I'm looking at it, is a lot less content. And so they just kind of went to what I could have found if I Googled it, or went to, Travelocity, hotels.com, or one of those sites. Nothing special about what they had here. One thing that they did that ChatGPT is not doing is that they did pull up images for the different areas that they suggested. So, if they were suggesting that I go to Tokyo, like they showed the Toyota Mega Web Car Museum. So it was great because I could see the picture within the results of the itinerary, right? So I like that I was able to do that. Unfortunately, from what I can see here, it's not as easy to download it. I mean, you could share it, and you can export it to Google Docs. So I do like that. So again, you can export to Google Docs and draft it in Gmail. Put it into your draft in Gmail. Let's see what else for filters. You can filter it to go longer, shorter, simpler, more casual, or more professional. So I do like that because you're modifying the tone of the email. Double check response. And then last but not least, let's say share. So share and export, as I said, turn on Gemini apps activity to share. So you actually have to turn on the settings. Now, in terms of ChatGPT, where I think that they did better is that whether it was like morning, lunch, afternoon, evening, each of the 3 days within this specific prompt, it really broke it down for me in a very nice way. Also, at the end with ChatGPT, it gave me additional tips for my trip to Tokyo. So that, talked about, well, things that you would expect, wear comfortable shoes, learn a few basic Japanese phrases. And it actually gave me some of the phrases with some sources. And again, I didn't go deep into the follow up to these prompts. The trick is if you are new to AI, if you're new to using these tools, the trick is that you're having a conversation with the bot. That's really the trick. You cannot simply put in a prompt just like I did, which is just a 2-line, a request. Just pretend you had an assistant. That's the way I always see these LLMs from the beginning. I have an assistant. I need to have a conversation. I can't just say, look, give me travel tips to Tokyo, and it's going to be a 3-day travel itinerary. And, you they're not in your head. So you have to have that conversation. It's up to you to have the conversation, because if not, you will, whatever input you put in, the outcomes are not going to be as good as they can be, right? So I think, like I said, in terms of Google's Gemini rollout, it's a significant move for Google. It seems like they finally have the branding and the direction they want to go in. Like, even if you go to their deepmind.google.com, you will see that it's they have the Gemini era, Gemini 1.5, 1.0, Gemini apps, and then build with Gemini. So they kind of have finally put it all together to try to keep up with OpenAI. But I do think it's a little bit more wonky to use. And I think that there's obviously a trust issue with a lot of people. The Anthropic, as I mentioned earlier, partnership is very interesting in terms of like what Anthropic has already done with their Claude models. But what many of us are looking at in the world of marketing and content is what is going to happen to SEO, search engine optimization, content. Are we going to be penalized? Are there going to be certain markers or seals that tell you where was the content created? Was it Facebook Llama or Meta? Llama from Meta? Was it Anthropic? We don't know that yet. We don't know that yet. And so, in a last episode, we spoke to you all about ethics in AI. And I think right now we're all just scratching our heads and trying to figure out what the next moves are. One of the other things that I found interesting too was that in terms of pricing, Gemini Advanced, so that's what they call it, is Gemini Advanced. If you want to build things with Gemini, if you go to like Gemini apps, it redirects you to Gemini Advanced. So that's an upgrade of your Google One plan, and that's $20 a month, right? So same thing as OpenAI's ChatGPT, it's $20 a month. What do you get for that? Well, basically, it's all the same thing that you would get with Microsoft Copilot, where in this case, it's going to include Gemini in Gmail, Gemini in all your Google Docs, which, I mean, that's definitely exciting, right? It's going to include Gemini with Google Photos and your Drive. So there are a lot of benefits to that. I mean, just think of it. It's a seamless conversation that you're having with the chatbot about your Google Slides, your Google Sheets, even Google Meet. So you can take notes when you're conferencing, sort of like you do in Zoom. Also, if you're writing anything. So I believe that the value is there. It's just a matter of, is it going to be as effective as Chat GPT at this point? And I'm not entirely sure of that. Now, of course, we've been using Chat GPT and OpenAI for quite a while. And on the next episode, we're going to be talking to you about Chat GPT's very quick move away from plugins. They have sunsetted the plugins, and then now they have fully gone into GPTs. So people who are building their own GPTs, which are just apps within the world of OpenAI and ChatGPT, right? So you see this move. I think it's going to happen across. It's going to be Apple, Amazon, Facebook, um, no doubt Microsoft, Google, OpenAI, where you have developers who build their applications or apps within each environment, right? Because everyone is going to end up finding out which is their favorite tool. It's kind of like, think about email or social media. You typically find one channel, one tool that you really like and that you connect with, and you find that the user interface and the user experience is better. And I think that's what's going to happen. But clearly, right now, OpenAI and ChatGPT's, all their products are dominating in terms of usage, right? So, listen, as we wrap up today's episode on the rollout of this Google Gemini, and of course, we talked about some of the other implications like the partnership with Anthropic. It's clear that the AI wars or battlefield, or whatever you want to call it, is more dynamic than ever. And I think that is exciting for all of us in that are working within the world of AI. Google's move, it signals not just a response to competition, but also a strategic shift towards possibly more ethical and well-rounded AI development approach. And that's good for business, no doubt. This level of competition, I think, will help the world, but of course, we have to be very careful because their motives are typically the bottom line. So how is it going to affect us? I don't know, but we're going to keep you informed, and we're going to keep digging deep into this as we are building our own AI content applications like Article Factory. And so one thing is for sure, the AI space is evolving and continues to evolve fast, and we're going to be here to keep you updated every step of the way. Thanks for tuning in to the AI Equation Podcast. I'm your host, Alex, reminding you to stay curious and keep exploring this fascinating world of AI. Catch you on the next episode.